scares the bear away. Well, one day it was daytime and she had parked out front. Well, the bear went in her car. Her window's broken, so it won't roll all the way up. The bear put the paws in there, knocked the window down, then tore the headrest off the front seat, went through the back seat into the trunk and got a box of cereal and a box of apples.
Good morning. Welcome to the November 18, 2015 Planning Commission meeting.
I'd rather talk bear.
Roll call, please. Yes.
Here.
Here.
Here. Here.
Commissioner Piliano is absent today. She did inform us that Aguilar is absent.
Okay, stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
On to item 2, public comment. At this time, members of the public may comment on any items not appearing on the agenda. Under state law, matters presented under this item cannot be discussed or acted upon by the Planning Commission at this time. For items appearing on the agenda, the public will be invited to make comments at the time the item comes up for Planning Commission consideration, so that all interested parties have an opportunity to speak. Any person interested in the Planning Commission may be limited at the discretion of the chair. Okay. At all times, please use the microphone and state your name and address for the record. Anybody wish to make public comment? Seeing none, we'll move on to the next item. The approval of the minutes.
I'll make a motion that we approve those minutes from the last meeting.
I'll second the motion.
Been moved and second. Roll call, please. Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Okay, let's go on to item 4, public hearing. This is a special use permit number PSP 15031 for Lucy Aguilar and Frank Gomez. It's a general rule exemption and special use permit number PSP 15-031 to allow a third single-family resident on a 1.75 acre parcel in the rural residential zone. The site is located on the east side of Road 88, Crawford Avenue, north of Avenue 420, Signaway Street, inside the Naiduma urban development boundary, and across from the street from Naiduma city limit. Contact is April.
Good morning, Chairman Gong and Commissioners. I'm April Hill, Planner 3 in County's Planning and Project Processing Division. As noted, the site is just outside, just across from Naiduma city limits. It's designated residential, low density, per the county's general plan. The city has no plans to annex, but requires the property owner to sign an agreement or to agree to future annexation into the city limits as a condition of receiving water services. City also stated that future zoning would allow one home plus one second dwelling unit on each lot. A parcel split is necessary for the third unit, but is deferred until annexation. The project is consistent with relevant elements of the general plan, will not conflict with agriculture, and the property owner is required to sign a right to farm notice. The site is in the rural residential RA zone, and which allows a third residence with an approved use permit. The second residence was authorized in 2007 by an administrative use permit. Access to the property is direct from city-maintained Road 88, Crawford Avenue, and access to the second and third residences is via non-maintained Chevy Chase Lane on the north side of the property. No conditions of approval were recommended by Public Works. Here's an aerial of the property showing the residences, the school across the street, and commercial uses to the north, and orchards. There's no species of concern on in the area. The site is in a flood hazard zone X, which requires a finished floor levels be elevated a foot.
April, is that green urban development,
That is
not urban area?
Hoary bat. It's a bat.
What now?
The hoary bat. I've never heard of it, but
But is it in the urban development boundary?
it's, we don't have a general plan map here.
Oh, that's our plan, not
Yeah,
by Nubis.
there shows the city limits.
So it is in the UDB.
It's in the UDB.
Thank you.
Here's a site plan of the two existing residences and the proposed one a little further south behind the main house.
April, request number?
Yes.
Wait a minute, am I got the right, same one?
It's the,
On the wrong page here. I'm trying to find out where that other house was. I never could find it.
it's the back.
It's on the back of that? Yeah, it's not on the back of it. I see two houses here.
Yes. Two existing,
Two existing, yeah.
one to the northeast,
Right.
one right by the loop.
And where's the other proposed one supposed to
And
be
the
going?
proposed one is right behind the main house,
Okay,
next to the pool.
I see. All right, on this sheet here, it doesn't show where the proposed one is. Well, I mean, it does show the proposed residence, but doesn't,
It was a bit hard to read the,
36 by 26, proposed third residence, 936
What-
square feet.
where are you looking, Bill?
Right there.
See, I don't have that page.
On the back of the area map.
Page 10. I do have that page. Thank you. Now, let me look at it. Okay, I see where the third residence is going, it's proposed for now. Okay, continue. Sorry for the delay.
oh no, thank you. A public notice was mailed to surrounding property owners and published in the Visalia Times Delta with a 10-day comment period. No comments were received. Do you have any questions for staff or for the agent, Mr. Gomez?
Okay, this is a public comment, but before we move on, let the record reflect that Commissioner Aguilar is here. So let's move on to the public comment section. Anybody wish, we're opening the public comment. Anybody wishing to make any comments? Mr. Gomez?
Yes, my name is Frank Gomez, 452 Bates, San Diego, California, and representing Mrs. Aguilar. And we concur with the staff report, and we concur with the conditions that we have discussed with the city and the conditions that are attached to the report. Thank you. If you have any questions, you can.
Okay, anybody else wishing to make any comments? Seeing none, we'll close the public comment and entertain a motion of some type.
I'll make a motion. General rule exemption consistent with California CEQA and the state CEQA guidelines to conditionally approve special use permit PSP 15-031 subjects to the findings and conditions.
Okay, roll call, please. Yes.
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 A motion is, or the special use permit has been approved for PSP 15031. So we'll move on to item 4B now. This is a special use permit number PSP 14-051 in Procoro and Hortensia Gardia. This is a mitigating negative declaration and mitigation monitoring and reporting program for special use permit number PSP 14-051 to allow a solid waste recycling operation on a 1.28 acre parcel in the exclusive agricultural zone. The site is located approximately 500 feet east of Road 120 and approximately 3,000 feet north of Avenue 56, northwest of the community of Early Mark. Okay, and your
That's
next
correct.
item.
And this solid waste recycling facility is for the storage of previously dismantled automobiles waiting to be transported to another location. And the CEQA document is a mitigated negative declaration. The initial study identified potentially significant effects on the environment, and an MND and mitigation monitoring reporting program were prepared, indicating that although the project may have a significant effect on the environment, mitigation measures were incorporated into the project that would reduce any impact to a point where clearly no significant effects on the environment could occur, and there is no substantial evidence that the project as revised would have a significant effect on the environment. The mitigation measures that were incorporated into the project pertain to biological resources, specifically the kit fox, and noise regarding the hours of operation and the activities allowed to occur at the project site. The project was noticed according to the law. Staff did receive 2 inquiries regarding the project. The first pertained to the access to the subject site, and when informed that the recorded map included a 30-foot wide private vehicular access easement to the subject site, the caller was satisfied. The second caller stated that this area was not suitable for a solid waste recycling facility, that such a use would be unsightly and unsuitable for the area, and that it would detract from the neighborhood. If the use was to be approved, the caller wanted to condition the project so that the facility would be shielded from public view by either a concrete block wall or a wooden stake fence. He felt the use of sheet metal would detract from the value of the neighborhood. Staff met the caller on Tuesday morning, and after the caller viewed the site firsthand as well as the neighboring properties, he changed his mind about the stake fence and stated that the existing metal fence was consistent with the adjacent properties. And the 3 photos on the top are the subject site fence, and the photos on the bottom are across the street, down the road, the adjacent property on the east.
Dana?
Yes.
I noticed is this one of those really old subdivisions?
Yes, it is. 1903, I think.
1903, right. They're kind of problematic because they have no services. Basically, maybe this has some sort of a semi-paved road. I don't see this doing anything to help, I'll comment on later, to improve the neighborhood. Were these lots included in our housing element for potential residential?
No, they were not. They don't. There's no services whatsoever there. It's just an antiquated subdivision that a few private property owners just have as parcels. I don't believe. Are there any? There's maybe 1 or 2.
There's a couple residences
out of the whole.
Yes.
The whole thing.
Yes.
Okay.
Mobile homes or something?
Mobile homes. Yes.
Okay, continue, I'm sorry.
Okay. The 2 of us did gain access to the site and determined that the use is an existing junkyard for dismantled autos.
What about all these tires stacked up? Is there any monitoring for water for mosquitoes, even though we haven't had water in years? But how do we make sure that we're not breeding mosquitoes out there?
Well, that would be the applicant's responsibility, and probably health provided a condition.
Well, in addition, I'd like to point to condition 18 that the applicant shall ensure the premises are maintained in a good, clean, and orderly manner. So as far as if there are vector issues, we would have the ability to go in.
Okay.
Out these conditions.
And environmental health, condition 24 also states that it should be properly managed to prevent nuisance odors, vectors,
Okay.
etc.
How long has this been in operation, do you know?
over a year. The applicant came in to the permit center over a year ago, and we did the project review committee initial review. And after that, he submitted this application for the special use permit. I would have to check the history of the project.
Have any complaints on it up to now?
No, there have not been any complaints. There is not a violation for the use having already begun. When we gained access, the caller and I, there were 3 items of concern. One was what looked like a dried oil spill to the top left. 2 is what appeared to be a puddle of radiator fluid, which had been mixed with recent rainwater. And 3, as we were there, a tow truck arrived with an automobile that obviously had not yet been dismantled, and they were going to drop that automobile off at this subject site. So there is a condition number 16 that states that this solid waste facility shall accept only vehicles that have been completely dismantled and all fluids drained, and under no circumstances shall vehicles containing fluids be brought to the project site, and also that no dismantling would occur at the project site. Now, I spoke with the owner's daughter on Monday or Tuesday, and they said that they would be here at the hearing today, but I don't see that they are present. So, and they do need to adhere to the conditions, and the fact that they are not here to state that they do understand may be problematic. This is the site plan, and it does show that the scrapped cars would be all along the sides, stored at the perimeter of the site. And, and the interior would be for the loading and unloading of the vehicles. Entitlement is found in section 16, 2B. Stating that solid waste recycling facilities are allowed in the AE40 zone upon the granting of a special use permit. The project is located in the Rural Valley Lands Plan, and the land use designation is Valley Agriculture. The project was found to be consistent with the applicable Tulare County General Plan policy. And as noted on the vicinity map, it is approximately 3,000 feet north of Avenue 56, which is about 1.5 miles west of the community of Early Mart. And it's in the AE40 zone, and you can see the pattern of the old antiquated subdivision, mostly vacant lands. Here's an aerial. Pointer to go there. There it is. You can see this is the site. And there is a residence over here, and I think there's a mobile home up here.
That's 56 on the left right there. Sierra.
This is Road 120, and this is Avenue 56.
No, that's not Avenue 56. Avenue 56 is about a quarter mile
that's
or
true.
half a mile south.
That's true. Sorry. My mistake. There's Avenue 56 down here. Yeah, it's about a half a mile. The only equipment to be utilized at this site is a tow truck and forklift. There will not be any crushing of auto bodies. There will not be any permanent employees working at this location. The only employees will be bringing or towing vehicles into or out of the property. The yard is to remain locked to the public, and the only time that anybody will be here, it will be during the hours of 8 to 5, and this applicant does own the Early Mart dismantling facility, which actually I think we did that permit about 7 years ago, perhaps.
Right?
Yes. And the existing fence is 6 feet high, sheet metal. The site does not require any water or liquid waste disposal. And there would be 2 dedicated parking spaces for private use only. And staff is recommending that your commission in 2 steps: 1, adopt the mitigated negative declaration consistent with CEQA, and 2, conditionally approve special use permit number PSP 14-051. And that concludes staff's report.
I couldn't find the, about the surfacing of the, the drive areas with decomposed granite or gravel or something.
There is a condition from Public Works.
I looked at Public Works, but
Says the existing, number 20, the existing access road shall be improved pursuant to the standards identified in the ordinance code. Construction shall commence from Road 120 to the east property line. So
but internally, I didn't see any.
internally, we could, the internal roads should be maintained. Let me see. Number 17, the applicant shall provide an all-weather access road within the yard.
Okay, any other comments? So I'm assuming they own that, you said they own that.
18 of conditions. I'd like to refer you to, number 18, I think, we've covered relative to maintain the property in good, clean, orderly manner. But down environmental health services, number 23, 24, I'd like to see something added in to have the property owner required to do some sort of vermin control. I've seen these places with tires stacked up and they get rats in there the size of little dogs. So I think I'd like to see some sort of pest control requirement added into this environmental health section.
I can certainly add that. Vermin control.
That'd be great.
Need a public hearing because I don't like this project, but maybe we should hear from the public first.
Yeah,
Mr. Chairman.
A little bit messy.
You're in charge.
Okay, this is a public, so I'm opening a public comment section. Anybody wishing to speak for this project or against this project, here's your opportunity. And you mentioned the applicant didn't show up, so.
The applicant is not here. I spoke with his daughter, who works at the shop in Early Mart, because the caller had mentioned he didn't like that fence, the steel plating. So I called her and asked if they would be willing to erect a wooden stake fence, and she told me that she felt that her father would certainly be willing to do that. But then when we went out there to visit, Mr. Manston was his name, he completely reversed his opinion, and he said, oh, this is fine. So, but when I spoke with her, I told her, I asked if they would be here, and she said yes. Not much.
I think a project like this, it depends on how stringent the enforcement and monitoring is. So, would there be site visits scheduled to check on compliance and that sort of thing?
We have a lot of old subdivision. I mean, the whole town of Goshen is an example of these early subdivisions, no services before the MAP Act. And I don't believe that there's anything here that's helping that area. We're just making it more of a blight. And so
I do
mean,
believe
don't-
that Mr. Gardia has arrived.
Okay.
Yes, we apologize for adjourning this.
Well, we've opened up the public comment, so we would like, I think you guys would like to ask a question, so if I could have your representative come up and give your name and address for the record. We basically went over the item. I think we added one more item to the condition, and we'll find out.
Yes, condition number 24, the commissioners would like to also utilize some, want you to utilize some vermin control at the site, like rats and stuff, or that you're not letting rats breed. So we'll add that.
Okay, can I have your name and address for the record, please?
My name is Procoro Gardea. My address 209 22nd Avenue, Delano, California.
My name is Tanya. Address is 6001 Roscoe Street in Bakersfield, California. And I'm his daughter, also his manager.
This is the public comment, so we're receiving any public comment. I don't see anybody out in the audience that are new, but you guys had some questions up here that you wanted to touch on?
In one of the, can you put the photo of the antifreeze and the oil, please? This photo, there's three items that are concerned. Do you understand what the issues are here and auto that's not dismantled being brought in, and then the antifreeze? Do you understand what the conditions are on being able to have this yard?
Dana, can you repeat the condition applicable to this so that I want to make sure they understand?
Yes. Yeah. You missed the presentation, but yesterday I did go to the site and I took these pictures. And so what looks like dried oil and antifreeze mixed with rainwater and a vehicle being brought in that obviously had not yet been dismantled. And the condition, it is, one of the conditions, if this permit is approved, is, let me find it.
Number 16.
Number 16, thank you. This solid waste recycling facility shall accept only vehicles that have been completely dismantled and all fluids drained. Under no circumstances shall vehicles containing fluids be brought to the project site, and no dismantling should occur at the site. So, this...
By the dismantler on Front Street.
What was that again? I missed that. Do you have another facility that dismantled?
Our main facility is on Front Street. Our main facility is on Front Street, and that's where the cars are supposed to come first so they can be dismantled and then taken out to this yard.
Okay.
I don't know what the issue was there yesterday, but he was supposed to come directly out to the main.
And Front Street is in early, is that in
Early
early
March.
March?
Yes.
Okay. And any explanation as to why the oil is there? Because if the vehicles are dismantled and the fluid's drained, we shouldn't have any issues like that.
No, that shouldn't be happening whatsoever. Everything is supposed to come. Dice que si tienes alguna excusa porque hay antifreeze y hay aceite tirado. Okay. He says it shouldn't be happening. It might be the forklift that is leaking oil, and if so, it needs to be repaired. Sometimes the cars that we do dismantle have additional parts in them. They shouldn't have any kind of oil or anything in them, but it does happen sometimes.
Voy a tener cuidado con eso.
Yeah. Because we do get cars that are partially dismantled or missing sometimes the engine or the transmission, and some of that oil, if it's not drained, it'll stay in the hoses, and then once they're taken out to the yard, that might be some of the causes of that. He says he's going to personally make sure that none of this happens and everything will be plugged up. Like I said before, we do collect cars that are wrecked, and there's no way of knowing if everything is completely out or there's stuff in hoses or inside filters and things like that. But we'll take precautions to plug everything up that is open.
How long has the operation been going on at this location?
¿Cuánto tiempo has tenido carros ahí?
Pues ya tiene un rato. No sé, no me acuerdo exactamente. Como
2 años? 1 año?
como un año más o menos.
It's about a year.
Poquito más, a lo mejor.
How long do these cars typically stay there? These carcasses do you recycle them at some point in time?
Yes. We were having trucks come out maybe once a week to recycle the car bodies, but with the crash in prices and everything, it's getting harder to sell them because it plummeted from $180 a ton to about $25 to $30 a ton, and so it slowed down in the pickup of the cars. So they have been here a little bit longer than what they used to be.
So you're waiting for the price to go up to...
We've sent out a load just last week, and we're expecting another one this week. The truck company comes out from Bakersfield, so it's a scheduling issue with them as well. But we're trying to clear this up because they're piling up.
Do you own other lots in this area immediately?
Yes. Tenemos otro lote. We have another lot down the street, about 2 blocks down. I believe we're at 314. The other lot is at 490. That one's currently vacant. And we own not the next lot north, but the one after that, where we used to have Pros Auto Repair, which is also closed down now.
Talking about where this facility is at, or I think you're referring to Front Road, right?
Yes, Front Road.
I'm talking about where this facility is.
On Front Road.
Out here, do you own any other lots out here?
No.
That's the only one.
Do we, I didn't see it. Do we have any provision for if they terminate the business, abandoning the property? If there were vehicles stored on that property, who gets rid of those?
Para si cierras el negocio, que sí que va a pasar con los carros que se quedan ahí si decides cerrar.
Pues la única es sacarlos, venderlos como están.
Okay. He says the only way we would do that is we would sell everything that is on the lot.
Pero ya
We
perderíamos
wouldn't
dinero.
abandon.
So you would clear the lot off?
Yes, we would clear the lot off. Está diciendo que si tienes un plan para no seguir haciendo esto.
Do we have any enforcement of that? Do we have a way to enforce that?
Well, there's a little bit of value there, so I guess if it was abandoned...
County
So
would
if
have to
people
come out
come
and
pick it up.
clear it off if it were abandoned?
Well, it's property owner's responsibility to maintain their property. If it were to be abandoned, it would be the property owners. If the county came, then it would be, the bill would be sent to the property owner. If it wasn't paid, then it would be assessed to the taxes, and if the taxes weren't paid, then it would be, so there's a process for that. What I'm hearing, the Planning Commission, and I don't want to jump in front of you, but if you'd like, we can add conditions for the vermin control measures, a condition about the abandonment of the property, and we can put up some scheduled inspections as well as part of the conditions of approval.
That would be desirable.
If that's the commission's, and we could do that here at the podium. Or we could, if it's your desire to continue, we could continue the matter and go through that as well. It's solely at the discretion of
You
Commissioner.
want to do it here?
I think we just do it right here.
Wanna
Let's
do it
not,
here?
let's not drag anything. We have to.
I would be in favor, too, of some kind of report to the commission of the monitoring. You don't always hear on these properties, but it might be useful on one like this. Maybe quarterly, or at least one report or something.
Mr. Chair, these old lots subdivisions are problematic, and there's been, unfortunately, they're not going away. So they're out there. And eventually, or maybe someday, it might get to the point where we can support them with infrastructure and what out there. And they are, 1 1/4 acre lots or something like that. And I don't think that an operation like this is going to help that.
I agree with you.
Help that chance of us ever improving that, and it's going to continue to be problematic if we just use it as a dumping ground out there. I think the subdivision has some merit in the future, maybe. Maybe somebody will come out there, maybe Bill will go out there, I don't know. But I don't think we're helping the rest of the future of the rest of those lots out there by this kind of an application. I think this is more of a rural residential application, personally.
Okay. Any other comments? What did we add on to?
Well, we can add on conditions for if you'd like a quarterly report, the first year quarterly report, and we'll submit something back to. So we'll have a building inspector when they're down in that area on a quarterly basis go do an inspection, see what they can visually see if the conditions of approval are being met.
I think that would give us the opportunity. I mean, I agree that in the future, we have to have these areas somewhere, and they're not pleasant wherever they are. But if we had access to that information and we could see any possibility, we could revoke that permit. Is that correct?
Well, it would go through the process, yes, and ultimately, if it wasn't meeting those requirements, then yes.
Or review it and add some other condition. I mean, this is a tough nut to crack here.
With that, I think if we approve this, then we're dooming this forever, so.
Yeah, my choice would be to have these little things go away, and, it's all zone AE40 anyway out there, but they're not going to go away. So then the next step is, what do? You probably try to support them sometime in the future. If you can't do it now, you probably want to do it in the future sometime.
You guys have any thoughts of what you might want to do if on this lot, in terms of maybe the area, hopefully, improve?
We would have to dig a well if we needed to do anything else. There's no electricity, no utilities. We'd have to start from scratch. So that's why we're using it to store car bodies. If we don't have this lot to store car bodies, we would probably go out of business pretty soon, because where we operate now is less than an acre, and there's just not enough room to store all of this and to get it in and out that quickly. I understand there will be problems, and we will do our very best to take care of it and monitor it. That's about all I can do. You can send inspections. We can do soil samples. We do water samples now at our current location. Whatever we need to do, we'd like to stay in business and grow our business, not just for us, but for the community. We are servicing all the areas in Porterville, Tulare, Delano. So it's totally up to you. We want to stay in business, and we don't want to damage the environment or cause any problems with the neighbors or anything like that. We haven't had any problems yet. So we're willing to work with you with whatever it is that you need for us to prove that we need this, and we care about the environment, and we're not here to pollute it.
I would recommend that we incorporate the changes we proposed here, monitor this particular one kind of as a test case very closely, see what happens. Sounds like they're willing to run a clean business here.
That's your motion?
Oh, we got it.
No, it's my comment.
Are we going to
Close the public hearing as well. Dana, the 300-foot noticing was for all the surrounding property
No,
owners?
this was 1 mile.
1 mile,
noticing.
so a 1 mile radius, all of the property owners, and you received what comments?
2 comments,
And the one you
2
went out.
telephone calls. And One was about the access easement, and the other one was about the fence and the use in general. But again, you know, that Mr. Manston and I, when we visited the site, he did withdraw his opposition really to this use. He, you know, he saw what the rest of the neighborhood looked like.
I will make this comment on what Ed said. I've seen that operation that they have on front, and they have kept it. I understand it's a wrecking yard, but they have done a good job in keeping it up. And if you give me the choice of them expanding in Early Mart or going a couple miles west, I'd say go a couple miles west. That development that since I've been a kid has been in that stage, and I can't imagine it in the next 50 years changing.
Again, I'll make the recommendation that we incorporate the additional terms or conditions and the monitoring, and allow the permitting process to go forward with monitoring.
So to be clear, I have
that's just easy.
vermin control, scheduled inspections, and a report to your commission.
And reclamation at the conclusion of their business.
Reclamation.
Any
That
other
was a
questions?
quarterly report.
Yes, first, your
Okay, so you understand we're going to add some additional
Yes,
recommendation to these
Requirements.
requirements.
not a problem.
Okay, so did you have any other questions that you might want to ask
I
us?
did notice on the paperwork it said it's a 2-year permit. What happens at the end of 2 years?
It's our standard language for any condition of approval. A condition of approval is saying that it's not necessarily in line with the zoning, so we're allowing, conditionally allowing your use out there. So at the end of 2 years, all conditional use permits are subject to change.
I think this really involves a commitment on your part as the next generation to ensure that, you know, that this parcel is cared for properly. And I think we need to have that commitment, and I think our, you know, reporting and monitoring on the process will help us ensure that that's what's really going on out there.
I personally take care of the paperwork for the water sampling and all the other permits, and keeping the yard clean and everything of debris, and it just makes it easier to work that way. Like he said, it is a dirty job, and there will be spills and everything, but we do our very best to keep it clean. You guys are welcome to visit our facility on Front Street anytime you like. Our floors are kept swept, oil barrels, antifreeze barrels, everything. It's cemented, and that's all I can offer is the cleanliness of everyday picking up and maintenance.
Dana, maybe in the condition of the reporting, maybe you could have some of the photo verification in those reports, so we can see what's happening there
certainly.
on a quarterly basis.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, no other questions up front either. So, all right, thank you very much. You can sit down. Okay, again, this is public comment. Anybody else wishing to make any comments? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public comment, and staff want to make some? I saw you reaching up. I didn't know. Oh, okay. Okay, so we'll close the public comment at this time and open for discussion up here or a motion.
You know, if the project was 20 acres, I'd be more favorable, but, you know, it's just a very small lot. I don't question these people's business practices. It appears to me they do a good job. You know, when I was young, I worked in a wrecking yard. And you go in clean and you come out pretty dusty and oily, but it's you know, we need we need these kinds of facilities. I'm sitting here thinking more favorably after what Gil said, and if it's every 2 years we look at it again, and also all they do there is to store vehicles. That's it. Nothing else. There's no retail. There's no disassembling. It makes it more palatable for me, knowing that it's not forever, because, you know, they can go in with forklifts and stuff and make it go away in a week, if that happens. But I don't want to see it changed into a light industrial area, and maybe that's what we should look at. Some of these areas is creating some industrial sites so these uses can go in there. Once we do this, it forever ends the possibility of turning it residential, and the only way we can make it go away is if they can go in and haul their cars away. There's going to be some pollution of the ground. There's just no way that you can stop the stuff leaking out of a car. There's just too many hoses, and that's not practical. But you can clean that stuff up, so it's not impossible. It may look like a large area, but in reality, a little skip loader, and I think the county has some practices or environmental people to help clean that stuff up. You know, oil and gas is not the problem that it was. It doesn't continue on in the soil. It pretty much is self-contained. So, having said that, with all the modifications, do we have all the modifications you wanted, Wayne, in the motion, the changes and additions, Dana?
Furman, scheduled inspections, a report to your commission, the first year quarterly reports, and reports every 2 years thereafter.
And the applicant...
removal of materials at the conclusion.
And reclamation plan.
Not only that, but the removal of any, you know, these stains on the soil, the removal of that material, wherever it goes. I don't really know where it goes.
Okay, so you want removal.
Yes, the facility shall be cleaned to environmental health standards.
Okay, there's two motion on this item. The first one has to do with mitigated negative declaration. Anybody wish to make a motion on that one first?
I'll make a motion, we approve the mitigated negative declaration and mitigation monitoring reporting program for special use permit PSP 14-051 as being in compliance with CEQA, the state guidelines for implementation of the California Environmental Quality Act of 1970.
I'll second.
Second, roll call, please. Yes.
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 Yes, I think the mitigated deck is the document for this, so yes.
Yes, and just a comment is I think the applicant will keep it clean and neat, because it's apparently what he has done in the past on his Front Street location, so.
Okay, that first motion has been approved for the negative declaration. I entertain a motion for the second item for the special use permit.
I'll make the motion that we approve special use permit PSP 14-051 and adopt the resolution establishing findings and conditions of approval for the project with the additional conditions, provisos for vermin control, removal of all materials on the property back to environmentally safe conditions at the conclusion of any operations. And third, provide the owner provide quarterly reporting. To the county for review by the Planning Commission, which includes photographs of the site.
I'll second that.
Move to second. Roll call, please. Yes.
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 No? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, special use permit PSP 14051 has been approved with those additional requirements.
Thank you.
Keep it clean.
This one's going to take a little while. So, you want to take a quick break? I think we're going to be here for a while on this one.
Why do you guys always look at me? I mean, okay, can we have a break?
You're the senior man here.
No, actually down there.
Oh, okay.
Got me by 3 years.
All right, so do you guys want to move on, or do you want to take a break?
Well, we're going on to
We're going on to the
Continued here.
continue
fine-
number
the-
5.
continue public hearing.
We need to take a break.
We might be here for a while on that, right? No?
No, it's a continuance, I thought. Yeah.
Okay, so
Okay.
let's,
Let's go.
Read
all
that
right,
fine
we're
print.
gonna tough it out because that's the type of people we are. So let's go on to item 5, continue public hearing. This is the final site plan number PSR 14005, Richard Best Transferring Company and YFP Best. This is the final site plan number PSR 14-005 to allow the improvements of an existing freight forwarding terminal and a master site plan for the 6 partial 110-acre Port of Erie Industrial Park located in the M2 SR zone. The site is located south of Avenue 430 between row 68 and row 72 near Dinuba. This is continued from September 23rd, 15 and October 14, 15. And contact is
I'll
new person.
handle this today. Thank you. Yeah, as you said, this was continued from October 18th, October 14th. And staff is recommending a further continuance until January 27th meeting. The parties continue to negotiate, and in good faith, there's some deliverables that need to be produced as far as this project, as well as allowing it sufficient time for all parties to review. So things are moving forward. There's been a meeting with the railroad company, and they're going to be petitioning the state for some things. The county supports lowering of some decibels on their sounds. So there's certain things. There's activity moving forward. Everybody's going in good faith forward. So all parties are in agreement with the continuance. So I would recommend that the Planning Commission open the public hearing and then, without closing it, continue it to January 27th.
Okay, thank you. We are going to open the public comment if it's not already open. So anybody wishing to make comments, if you do make comments, although I don't see a whole lot of people out there, I don't want you to repeat comments that we have already received, and we're going to try to limit it to 3 minutes. Anybody wishing to make comments at this time? Additional comments, new items? Seeing none, we're going to keep the public comment open until January 27th, I guess.
Make a motion that we continue this to January 27th,
I'll second.
2016.
2016. Yes, sir.
It's already coming.
Okay, it's been moved in second. Roll call, please. Yes.
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 Okay, I assume that there's not going to be any new notices going out, and so 27th. This item is continued to January 27th. Okay. Now let's move on to the next item. Oh, did we got the roll call, right?
It's time to get a new chairman.
Oh, that's right. That's why. That's the thing. Okay. Item for discussion, review, and action. 6A, Planning Commission calendar for 2016 we have in front of us.
Make a motion to accept the calendar as presented.
I'll second.
Move to second, roll call. Roll call, please.
I do.
Yes.
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 Okay, move on to item 6B, election of chair and vice chair.
We need a secret ballot on this? or-
Yeah. Well, fortunately, Nancy's not here, so we could
Oh,
always
good.
appoint her because she can't make any comments.
when you miss a meeting?
You won't be able to refuse, that's for sure.
So you nominated Nancy's what you said for to be the chair?
She's up.
Who's the vice chair then?
Would be John
That would be
Elliott.
my select.
John Elliott. So I'll make a motion with Nancy chair and John Elliott vice chair.
I'll second.
Second roll call, please. Yes.
Yes.
Abstain.
Yes.
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 Okay, we have our new chair and vice chair for 2016. Would Gil ever have an opportunity as being at large to be considered as chair, or he's just
No,
still
I'm the at-large. Never changed it.
Not at large, he's the alternate.
an alternate, right?
I'm not a real commissioner.
At the rate we're going, you might as well be.
I did want to make one comment while we're on the elections for next year. I just want to say congratulations to Mel, because he did an outstanding job, and he got us through some incredible agendas with great efficiency and in a cost-effective manner. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, thank you, John.
Good.
Glad to vote for you.
So we're gonna get you a plaque out of our budget? We don't have a
It's
budget.
just my evaluation on my IRS form thing.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, director's report. Do we have any director's report?
Sure. Yesterday, the board appointed Mr. Spada as the CAO for the county, so that's official now. And as far as the RMA director goes, there'll probably be an interim appointment made sometime in December, and then going out for outside a recruitment for that position. So that's where we're standing with that. Housing element yesterday was adopted by the board, as well as the solar ordinance regarding the requirement for a percentage of houses to incorporate that. And the diesel idling ordinance also was approved. Self-help enterprises Goshen project was approved yesterday as well. Unfortunately, I got bad news on McDonald's and Early Mart. McDonald's, the plug is being pulled on that. The developer I spoke with him last night. They've kind of dragged their feet. The building permits have been sitting there since it was approved back in springtime, and we've been waiting for them to come in, and they've hemmed and hawed, and they've gone back and forth, and they've just been dragging their feet for so long that it's really time that the developer moves on to getting another potential tenant there. So he'll be looking for other things. And I told him he was really disappointed. You know, the community is really expecting this, but the conditions and the concessions that he made to try to get McDonald's in, they just kept piling on. He provided me with a sheet of restricted uses for the rest of the facility. No other food vendor whatsoever in the whole facility. So he couldn't, because he's had inquiries from Starbucks and others to predict, but McDonald's in their thing said you couldn't have another drive-through facility. And so it might be a good thing that this will free the dam up and we'll be able to get some other projects in there. And he's looking to bring forward a site plan for 2 more of the parcels for multi-tenant buildings. So it looks like things will get moving there again.
So they just couldn't meet the conditions of corporate McDonald's.
Well, he made a lot line adjustment based on that, on things they kept going. The last, up till 2 weeks ago, corporate McDonald's was saying we hope to close escrow within the next couple of weeks, and then all of a sudden, late last week, it got
it got pulled, and they said, well, it's not in the capital expenditures for corporate budget for 2015 or 16. Maybe it might be in 2017, and we've gone on for so long that it's time to move on. You know, they're tying up his site with all these restrictions, and he's not able to get negotiate with other people. So he's moving forward with that. And but on the good side, the Mozzarella Fresca building in Tipton has been sold to Crystal Garden. It's I believe it's a Chinese company. It's going to be milk specialty product, but it's through the EB-5 program, visa program for foreign investment. So they're going to be making some major improvements inside the facility in the coming months, and then start to look to go into production late spring, early summer with about 140 employees. So
wow,
be gearing up for a good hire there. And then just to touch base on Three Rivers and the Dollar General saga with the sign. I've been in contact with Dollar General, or the Emory Asset Group, who does site locations and pitches to the company. They don't have a site secured whatsoever. They don't know where the sign came from. They're interested in Three Rivers, but they don't have any direct knowledge of why or who put it up there. So
the sign was interesting because it appeared all of a sudden a week ago Friday, and it said Dollar General coming soon. And so a lot of different folks went out there and scrolled across, not in our town, all this other good stuff. But it's like anything else in Three Rivers. You can find plenty of people for it, and you can find plenty of people against it. So it has created a lot of excitement up there of people wondering if their parcel is zoned correctly and looking at the zoning. And I think that's the best thing that's coming from this, because we got some weird zoning in Three Rivers, and maybe that a little bit of education about what zoning is appropriate. One thing that's come forward is we have no zoning for a microbrewery. And so we want to add that to our community plan.
You know what? Very good. We've done that with all the community plans thus far. We've added microbreweries in there, because in the countywide zoning ordinance, a microbrewery would be considered alcohol manufacturing and is only allowed in the M2 zone.
Yeah. So
meanwhile, Visalia has the microbreweries associated with restaurants and all this, and this is the trend. So as we are doing the community plans, that's being incorporated in all of those. So all the ones that we've done thus far have that incorporated now.
On our informal survey of the community, that's the number one business we want. we think that would really help the town. Yeah, well, I wanted to, but I think that's really it would be a feather in our cap to get something like that. Not so sure about a Dollar General, but we'll see.
That would be my report.
If you've never been in a Dollar General, you should go in.
Oh yeah,
they're very nice stores. They're a bigger 7-Eleven with, you know, a little bit of everything.
Well, they're the largest retailer in the U.S. in terms of outlets, and now the rumor in Three Rivers is they're partially owned by Walmart. So we'll have lots of stuff going around about that, I'm sure.
Yeah, about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, some of our staff attended a awards breakfast, American Public Works Association, and we got 3 awards or 3 recognitions, 2 projects near Porterville, a safety project that included safe routes to school paths around John J. Doyle Elementary School, including a traffic signal and some roadway improvements. One project of the year in the small rural cities category, and we had another safety project in the area, Reservation Road that leads up to the casino. We installed guardrails, rumble strips, safety type of features to improve safety along that historically dangerous corridor. And that got an honorable mention. And our chief engineer, Reed Schenke, was awarded with the Engineer of the Year award by APWA. So we were proud of those awards. At yesterday's board meeting, there were 4 agreements approved between Tulare County and High Speed Rail. Through those agreements, Tulare County will see approximately $12.5 million of roadway improvements to be constructed by the High Speed Rail Authority's contractor along the High Speed Rail corridor. So that was a positive thing for Tulare County as well.
Anything new on the El Nino preparation?
We're just continuing to monitor the weather. We have our, continually checking our pumps, make sure they're operating. And we're just, the storms that we've seen so far have been not very intense, so it hasn't created a whole bunch of issues.
That's going to change.
Yeah.
What do you see? We're one thing they said that the state of California. This is from the weather scientists. State of California will need double its average rainfall to get out of this drought. Well, not all parts of the state are going to get that, but I would say pretty much from Kings Canyon south, we have a really good shot at doubling. We're already way ahead in Three Rivers. So if that occurs, of course we won't be out of the drought, but we're going to have a mess to clean up. I can tell you that. So those guys, all the debris channels and the runoff areas, they're all going to flood over the roads and close the roads. So I know you guys are ready, but I can't see being ready for this. This is going to be incredible.
Well, we'll do what we can, and through Aaron's help, we've secured a stream bed maintenance agreement. Is the right term? We've done some, without being too invasive, clearing some of our bridges of debris and trash. Through this permit, we can do a little bit more intensive clearing of some vegetation. There's reporting, of course, that we have to do, but we have that in place to further, clear some of those channels and at least help the effort. So.
All for the director's report. Let's move on to item 8, Planning Commission discussion for future items that we want to dump on Nancy.
I've got one that I wanted to. I reminded. In fact, Dave Bryan, I think, got a message on this, but we have this situation with the VRBO properties just exploding in Three Rivers. Can the planning staff give us some kind of update on that and what the situation is in collecting tax from those individual properties?
That's up to Rita, and she's really done a good job taking care of that. So.
Yeah, but a
Somebody
lot
needs
of
to
them.
go to her office.
They have. These are properties. I can't believe that they're aware of all these properties. What's the process?
Basically, the person who collects the taxes has not been collecting them. Your staff doesn't have to comment on this, but Wayne and I have been involved in some sales of some property, and the tax thing goes back years.
Right.
So if nobody bothers to collect, then that's kind of a problem.
So how do we do that? That's what
Well, we can invite the tax collector to, I can reach out to her office and see what her process is for specifically tax collecting for that type of rental, those type of rentals, and see what she has as far as policy and procedure and maybe what kind of numbers she's getting from that.
I think it's important, and are special use permits required on these VRBO properties?
A use permit so if you're renting out your entire thing, it's not considered. It would be like renting out just if you're renting a house, but there is.
But this is an overnight rental at
temporary,
about 10 times the amount.
I understand that. We don't our zoning ordinance doesn't accommodate or address that type of feature, which back when it was created never had contemplating something like that. Again, with the community plan, as you go forward in Three Rivers and maybe in Stringville and stuff, those types of considerations should maybe be brought up. But the thing should be brought forward to the tax collectors.
Okay, well, the hotels are paying it now.
Right.
And that money's coming into the county. We are missing a
Bed
huge...
and breakfasts are as well, where there's multi-rooms and things like that.
Yeah.
I think it is, your point is well taken. That can fly under the radar without a program or protocol for checking it, enforcing it. That I don't know what that procedure is.
in the tax collector's office.
Yeah, well, a couple of the property owners told me that if you're Airbnb or VRBO, they take care of paying the taxes. I can't believe that any of that money is coming into Tulare
I
County.
don't know. I don't know. That would be
Okay, well, I think let's get that on the agenda as soon as we can.
I'll reach out to Rita and see what they're doing about that, and that the planning commission would like to have a report and understand how we're going about collecting that.
It's really the board supervisors. We're not in charge of collecting taxes or.
Well,
and again, I can only invite. On your behalf, I can invite and reach out and see what.
Well, I mean, I don't think the board's really aware of it. How do we make them aware of that?
No, they're aware of it. Rita and I have gotten into some heated discussions.
Yeah, because here's the point. I mean,
He pretty much told me to take a flying leap through a door.
yeah, well, we have a transient tax in Three Rivers, and it generates over $1 million every year, and that money all goes into the general fund of the county. Three Rivers could use this potentially as some kind of funding to improve our own community. We're not getting that county money. So maybe you could, I mean, is this something we need to present to the board?
Well, as far as that goes, assessment districts and things could be formed where there could be a percentage that the participants vote in to create some sort of a tourism thing where that can create that, and you're taxing yourselves on that.
Well, I think that's what's
trying
coming.
to grab the general fund taxes and specifically direct it to Three Rivers, I don't think you'll be very successful on that.
Well, I know that. But I like the idea of the assessment district, but I need to.
Yeah, formation of something like that.
Yeah, especially with this untapped source of money that's just sitting there. I mean, it went from 5 to 60 properties in 12 months. So this is going to be a trend for the future, and we got to figure this out because.
You need to write an article, get on the board. They're the ones that make the tax decisions. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see.
Get on them.
Something that I think it's an untapped source of revenue for the county, and we're not getting it. So.
One more for Ben over there. Yesterday, I spent a couple hours with a dairyman and a large property owner in Tipton area. And he was complaining to me that he says, I pay $300,000 a year in property tax, and he says, I can't get the road in front of my dairy fixed. So, in fact, we were on it, and nobody can drive on that road. It's so bad. They go off on the dirt around on the sides, and then when get past, they go about a half a mile or a mile, and then pull back up onto the road right there. It would be better to chop it up and make, if it's not going to be maintained, just make it, a crushed road base type of a thing.
You said it's, what's the location of it? Or?
Oh boy, I know you're going to ask me that. It was Avenue, it's Avenue south and east of Tipton. It's Avenue 128 or 136. I'll get the exact spot for you. And it's
okay.
It's
we'll have our guys go.
About a half a mile of it's so bad, like you say, you got to go around it.
How come we don't, like they do in Nebraska and some of those places, just use gravel roads? Because we went to that big solar plant. I don't know if all of you were there, but that was pretty much that road. You had to drive on the shoulder. It was awful.
Well, they had big. Is that the one with the big rocks in it? They didn't have.
Well, I don't know. It's
So
south.
they've repaired that road. It's road 40.
I think it's 40.
Well, they did repair it.
And they're under construction of another solar project. Actually, since that open house ribbon cutting, there's been a mirror project right next door, so it's double the size. And now they're building the third unit down there, facility as well. That's just going into construction now.
That's owned by that big, the company makes all the electronics out of Los Angeles.
Samsung owns
Samsung.
one. The one that's been built since then and the one under construction now are owned by Con Ed. And Con Ed purchased all the other ones out in the Alpaugh area, and they purchased all the ones down in the Ducor area as well. So pretty much all the large scale ones are Con Ed, with the exception of Samsung, which still owns theirs, I believe, and then the Tulare Solar Center, which is just getting under construction too. But all of the remaining large scale ones are all owned by Con Edison.
Good use for that alkaline ground.
Yeah, definitely it's a challenge to keep up. We have over 3,000 miles of roadway to maintain. Recently the gas tax revenue that we get was reduced by $3.5 to $4 million over the last couple of years. So that's that much less that we were able to do to maintain our roads. So it's definitely a challenge, but we can take a look at these roads, see if there's anything at least.
This one needs at least a look. It's not even serviceable. And I've been on some rough roads, but this one's pretty tough.
We'll take a look at it.
Ben, what's your email? So I'll send you the information.
bruiz@co.tulare.ca.us.
Okay.
Any other